Chicago Bulls won their second straight NBA title. Michael Jordan danced in celebration, but for just a moment as he held the championship trophy, perhaps Jordan reflected on how close they had come to defeat by the ferocious play of the New York Knicks. The second round series against New York was a bitter war, with the underdog Knicks battling and even taunting the champions. It went on for 7 grueling games, with the physical intensity of each encounter taking its toll. The Knicks went straight at the Bulls, not willing to accept the expected outcome, pushing them to the limit. But in the end, the Knicks could not withstand Michael Jordan as he led the Bulls to victory in the series and ultimately the championship. Championships have been the hallmark of Pat Riley's coaching career. He won 4 with the Los Angeles Lakers. Now he seeks yet another ring, this time in New York. For Riley, Christmas came early this year in the form of 7 new players such as Charles Smith, Rolando Blackman, and Doc Rivers. When the revamped Knicks met the Bulls a month ago in New York, all 3 played key roles in a dominating performance by the Knicks as they overwhelmed the Bulls, beating them by 37 points and sending them limping out of town. Tonight in Chicago, these new rivals meet again as the Bulls look to remind the upstart Knicks just who the real champions are. It's Christmas with the NBA, New York, and Chicago.
This is the NBA on NBC. Tonight, a special Christmas edition. The New York Knicks versus the Chicago Bulls.
Certainly a festive atmosphere in Chicago on Christmas night. It is a bitter cold 20-degree day in the Windy City. Indoors, inside Chicago Stadium, it is heating up. The usual capacity crowd, better than 17,000 turning out as we get set for the New York Knicks and the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls, despite their inconsistent play, are at 17-7. That's the best record in the Eastern Conference, followed by the Knicks at 16 up and 7 down. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with the czar of the telestrator, Mike Fratello. We welcome you to the second half of our NBA doubleheader here on NBC. And, Mike, for the New York Knicks, it has been a terrific stretch. They've won 5 in a row, taken 7 of the last 8. And Pat Riley has done all this with a restructured roster.
Marv, normally when things are going well, you don't want to make too many big changes, but not Pat Riley and the New York Knicks. After winning 51 games a year ago, he came into training camp with 7 new faces on the roster. And this is a Pat Riley type team, one that prides itself in conditioning and defense. They're number 1 in the league in fewest points allowed and number 1 in defensive field goal percentage. Now, at the same time, bringing these new guys, and they thought they'd be pretty good offensively. Not the case. They've struggled. Next to last in scoring. One guy who's been very consistent, though, Patrick Ewing, their mainstay in the middle, recently named NBA Player of the Week, averaging over 22 points per game, over 12 rebounds.
Meanwhile, the Chicago Bulls are gunning for a three-peat. It has not been easy over the first 24 games. Even Michael Jordan has had his share of problems fighting through a 3-game shooting slump, but he did break out this past Wednesday night against the Bullets with that 57-point explosion.
Obviously, winning 3 in a row is not supposed to be easy. In fact, only one other NBA franchise has accomplished that, the Boston Celtics. Now, some of the problems that Chicago faces in trying to win their 3rd one. go back to 3 very long seasons in a row because of their success. Jordan and Pippen go off and play in the Olympics this summer, making it even longer. Come back to training camp, and Jordan and Pippen miss early practices because of some time off. Injuries to Paxson and Cartwright. This is an aging Chicago team, and then because of roster moves, it's not as deep as past teams. Now, this evening, the 2 guys that are supposed to carry Chicago are Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. But if you go back to last year, you notice that against the rest of the NBA, outstanding season. Against New York, not quite the same numbers.
And the Bulls are hoping to avenge that 37-point defeat to the Knicks in New York back in mid-November, so the holiday spirits may not exactly be sky high. But before the ball is tossed up for the opening tip, Michael Jordan does have some good cheer that he'd like to share.
I'd like to wish season's greetings to all the basketball fans, NBA basketball fans around the United States, and especially to my family, my wife and my 2 kids, my 2 boys actually, Marcus and Jeffrey, and to my new daughter, Jasmine. Happy holidays from Michael Jordan.
Chicago with the 257th consecutive sellout crowd on hand. The public address voice of the Bulls, Ray Clay, ready to add to the spirit of this gathering with his unique introduction of the starting lineup.
Merry Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. The Chicago Bulls welcome the world's greatest fans to the Chicago Stadium. Tonight's Eastern Conference matchup is between the New York Knicks and your Chicago Bulls. And now for tonight's lineups. First for the visiting New York Knicks, at forward from Virginia Union, 6'9", Charles Oakley. A 6'10" forward from Pittsburgh, Charles Smith. At center, 7 foot from Georgetown, Patrick Ewing. At 1 guard from Kansas State, 6'6", Rolando Blackman. At the other guard, 6'4", from Marquette, Glenn Doc Rivers. The New York Knicks are coached by Pat Riley, assisted by Dick Harders and Jeff Van Gundy. The trainer is Mike Saunders. Assisted by Tex Winter, Johnny Bach.
And now to a man who has elevated sideline reporting to mammoth proportions. Here's Ahmad Rashad.
Thanks, Marv. Now, what a rivalry this has become. Pat Riley has been on record as saying that the Chicago Bulls do not give his team any respect. I'm sure he says that to get his team fired up. But anyway, I asked Horace Grant about that. He said, no, we respect them. As a matter of fact, this game has all the ambience of a playoff game. He can't eat, he can't sleep. He just wants to get this game on. I also asked Michael Jordan the same question. He said it's hard not to respect a team that played us the way they did in the playoffs, and also the way that they just blew us off the court earlier this year. He said, as a matter of fact, I have changed my entire pregame routine. I said, how's that? He said, well, to get ready for this game, I took a nap. Mark?
Thanks a lot. The Czar can relate to that. I know there was a long nap this afternoon prior to tonight's activity.
Was getting ready for the game.
Yes, right. Chicago Bulls have won their last 2 and 5 of the last 6. In their last game Wednesday, beat the Bullets here in Chicago, 107-98. A game that saw Michael Jordan hit for 57 points, and he was connecting with the three-pointer, 6 of 8 from downtown. While the Knicks played last Saturday night in New York and beat Miami 91-87. Pat Riley had actually feared a letdown following the decisive win in Boston last Friday night. The Knicks had dropped 23 straight regular season games on the parquet floor in Boston prior to that win on Friday. The officials, Jess Kersey, Bruce Alexander, and Ted Bernhardt. Patrick Ewing stepping in to go against Bill Cartwright, and the Knicks control the tap. The one-time Bull, Charles Oakley, for Doc Rivers, who's guarded by B.J. Armstrong.
There was some early concern on matchups with the Bulls. Would Pippen wind up against the 3-inch or 4-inch bigger Charles Smith, or would they play Grant that's starting out with Pippen, the guy that will match up against Charles Smith?
Shot clock down at 3, and Ewing launched the air ball. Chicago will take over. Pat Riley claiming it was deflected out by one of the Bulls.
And let's go back to that matchup just for a split second. The matchup doesn't make that much of a difference because Chicago switches so much, particularly between the 3-spot and 4-spot, that at different times during the game, depending on what's run, you'll see different matchups.
And there was a foul called on that play on Charles Oakley for a push-out as he tried to get to that shot thrown up by Ewing. Here's Grant. Horace Grant's shooting has been off this season. He's been complaining that he has been out of the offense. Blackman with the fake on Jordan, had nowhere to go. And this is Charles Smith, way off. Rebound Oakley, and connects with the putback. Charles Oakley, who had an excellent game against the Bulls in New York with a season-high 16 rebounds, gets the scoring underway. Now Jordan from long range. So the game is tied at 2.
Well, no question, and that paid off. Michael coming out stroking it right from the beginning.
Michael Jordan over the years has had great respect for the defensive abilities of Rolando Blackman. Now Jordan stripping Blackman. Scottie Pippen changed his mind. Jordan for 3. Rebound Ewing. Blackman off the pick. Good recovery by Armstrong. We are just underway. The game is tied at 2. Here is Ewing. And the foul is called. Bill Cartwright over the years has played Patrick Ewing extremely well. One-time teammates in New York. They went up against each other on a regular basis in practice. Usually, Phil Jackson has tried to get Cartwright involved early offensively in an effort to pick up the fouls on Ewing.
Well, they always try to go to Cartwright early, establish the offensive game down low, see if they can put a quick foul on the opposing center. But this season, Bill Cartwright's biggest problem has been lack of minutes on the floor due to the off-season surgery, and he's been slow coming around. He's averaging under 20 minutes per game.
Phil Jackson telling us after practice yesterday that John Paxson and Bill Cartwright are far from physically ready coming off the off-season surgery. That's why Paxson is not in the starting lineup, according to Jackson. Here's Jordan. Rebound Oakley.
What they had that time in transition was a 1-2 point guard, big guard, pick and roll, which you don't see too often.
Crowd wanted a travel call. Off the deflection, Grant feeding Pippen. Here's Grant. Pippen missed the tip. Grant with the rebound. And Oakley able to collar it. Knicks 4 and the Bulls 2. Charging foul on Smith.
Going back to a moment ago, we talked about the sudden pick and roll in transition by Chicago. The 2-guard, Michael Jordan, steps up, sets the screen on the point guard defensively, who's Doc Rivers. Then at the other end, Pippen does his job defensively, stepping in, good position for the offensive foul.
Chicago has hit only 1 of its first 7. Jordan trying to go one-on-one with Blackman. Nice dish for Cartwright. Make it 1 for 8. for the Bulls. Ewing saving it and ramming it off Grant, but he was out of bounds when he tried to save it.
Well, the ball actually hit Grant and then hit Ewing out of bounds before it touched the ground. So Ewing is considered out of bounds right now. It hits him, therefore the ball is out off Patrick Ewing.
The old schoolyard play that did not work. And the Knicks get it back. Neither club burning it up here at the start. Pat Riley and his Knicks with a 4-2 lead. 3 minutes have gone by. The Knicks have lost 12 straight here at Chicago Stadium in regular season play. They did win here in the playoffs last season. Nice recovery by Smith, and the Knicks now lead it 6-2. The Knicks last won here in regular season competition March of 1987. Armstrong and Jordan in the backcourt. Grant, Cartwright, Pippen up front. Here is Jordan. Yes. The Knicks 6, the Bulls 4.
You mentioned a short while ago the tremendous amount of respect that Michael Jordan has for Blackman defensively, but on the other end, Blackman also can go at Michael Jordan and make him work defensively. There are a lot of guys who have played Jordan tough defensively, but don't make him work at the other end of the floor. That was one of the hopes of the Knicks.
Blackman for 3, firing one up. Oakley on the rebound. Oakley with the recovery, but he caught his own deflection, and it's a traveling violation.
I don't see any problem with that. Why not pass to yourself? The fight for the rebound inside. Now, right here, there's the pass to himself. Not allowed to do that.
Michael Jordan shaking off a recent shooting slump. Missed his first 11 shots this past Monday against Miami. Cartwright ties the game at 6. In that game against Miami, Jordan had only 3 points after 3 quarters of play. Nice move by Smith. Charles Smith with those long strides. Now he creates a major matchup problem for the Bulls.
Well, you have to go back to a year ago when he not only played the small forward position, but the big forward spot, and then started down the stretch for Larry Brown and the Los Angeles Clippers. Talk about some athleticism. This is a 6'10" guy who faces up, can knock it out, and by showing it, you got to play him, and then he finishes like that.
Paxson was telling us yesterday that he believes the Knicks actually foul on every play, and the officials just can't call every foul, so they get away with things. I asked Pat Riley for his reaction.
We take great pride in our defense. We're a physical team. We want to get up into people and make them feel our presence, but no, we don't foul on every play because that would be stupid. He's just lobbying, you know, as he would, as a good coach would lobby in the media and hope that somebody pays attention to it.
As a good coach would lobby in the media. Is that accurate, Zone?
Everybody does what you have to do to try and gain that edge, whatever the edge may be. Both of these coaches know how to do that.
The Knicks allow under 92 points per game. That counts, and a foul. The basket counts, and the foul is called on Charles Smith.
In changing up who the postman is, they come out of the timeout, Chicago, and go to Grant on the post-up, trying to put a foul on Oakley, and they accomplish it.
The Knicks have the best defensive record in the NBA. They allow under 92 points per game. In 17 of their 23 games, the Knicks have held the opposition to under 100. If the Knicks maintain their current pace defensively, it will be the lowest such record since the Fort Wayne Pistons held opponents to 90 points a game back in the 1954-55 season. Grant called for that foul, and Oakley will put it in play.
And what we just saw was Chicago extending its defense, playing the full court Chicago defense, something they had used so frequently in the past 2 seasons to steal that time by Pippen, but have not used much this season. And it goes back to the conditioning. They just haven't been in shape, according to Phil Jackson, to play that extended defense over extended minutes during the game.
Where's the mismatch? Ewing was jumping out at Armstrong. Ewing gets to the boards. Rivers eludes Pippen. Here's Smith. Yes. So the Knicks recapture the lead. Knicks 10, and the Bulls 9. 6.5 remaining in this first quarter. Here's Blackman, met by Jordan as the Bulls isolate. Jordan swings in and hits, and drew the foul. What a move by Michael Jordan.
Jordan changed the routine up that time on Blackman, and a little scuffle breaking out on the court, but Michael shows it. You think he's coming back, and instead he winds up coming into the lane. Now, after that play took place, few of the players, a little contact after the whistle, and almost a near scuffle down on the baseline.
But it looks like things were settled down quickly. Patrick Ewing involved, as was Horace Grant. Michael Jordan to the line for the first time.
On the baseline, after the whistle, a few of the players going after each other, push and shoves exchange, or just a Christmas greeting, however you want to look at it.
It was Oakley and Cartwright as the major principals, and then Ewing and Grant had some words, trying to cool it down. Bill Cartwright, though, laughing it off. It was Bill Cartwright who was acquired in the deal for Charles Oakley.
Okay, got that. So, all right, now we have
Jess Kersey over at the scorer's table, and right now we're waiting to see if a technical foul is going to be assessed on either team or both teams.
Technical foul. New York Knicks, 34, Charles Oakley.
They call a double technical.
24, Bill Cartwright.
So Cartwright and Oakley are hit with the technicals. When it's a double technical, there are no shots that are taken, but it can have an effect later on. Should one of these players be hit with another technical, they would be ejected.
Yeah, many people, I'm sure, as Michael knocks down the football, wonder why don't you just let it go, since they kind of nullify each other. It's because it straightens guys out, sends a warning, and they know the next one, they're gone from the game.
Bulls 12, Knicks 10. Pressure by Jordan bothering Blackman. But Jordan is called for a foul, and he is upset.
And well, he should be, because that time Blackman just was struggling. There was no way he was going to get away from Michael Jordan. And we saw in the NBA Championship Series last year, when he wants to get after the basketball, he's as good as anyone playing people off the dribble. That time, Michael wanted the 10-second violation.
Rivers drawing the double team. Anthony Mason has come on for the first time. Mason for Oakley. Mason spinning down low, rejected by Grant. The long arms of Horace Grant sending Mason away. Very intensive defense being exhibited here by the Bulls in these opening minutes. Pippen looks for the shot. Yes. Scottie Pippen off the screen extends to a 4-point Chicago lead.
And taking Michael Jordan away from the basketball, playing pick and roll with the small forward and big forward, 3-4 pick and roll.
Rivers with the step, and apparently Jess Kersey with the call. Rivers arguing the call, but he thought it would be called against him. It's on Armstrong.
Well, when you have people that can change shots or block shots, you know that it's going to help lead you to some easy scores, and there Grant with the block on Mason enables the Bulls to take off.
As we mentioned, the Knicks #1 defensively, allowing only 91.6 points per game. Chicago, as you saw, right in there, but their defense not what it was the last couple of years. Ewing battling for that one.
And they changed New York. They put Patrick Ewing back down in the hole. They took Charles Smith out. The prior 2 trips down, it was Ewing outside, Smith down low.
Cartwright rebounded by Mason. We're just under 5 minutes remaining in this first quarter. The Knicks with the ball. They are down by 2. Ewing draws the double team. Smith able to save it. Shot clock down to 5. Smith for Blackman, who fires. Yes. And the game is tied at 14.
Rolando Blackman shooting just 43% from the floor, but most recently has started to find his stroke. His conditioning is getting better. His back is feeling better, and he's more productive offensively.
Grant getting inside. Ewing comes away with it in the crowd. Rivers has a 3-on-2. Blackman with the pull-up. Yes. Yes, Rolando Blackman missed the entire preseason because of the back injury. Very slow to fit in, but in recent games he's done well. A season-high 23 on Saturday against the Miami Heat. The Knicks lead by 2. A 6-0 run by New York. A steal off the double team. Rivers feeding Smith, who takes all the way.
Something New York did last season was make it simple for their players on pick and rolls. They said, we're going to trap and double team everything and rotate to the next pass. That time an aggressive double team by Smith and Rivers.
22nd timeout is taken by Phil Jackson.
If you jump the ball hard and you don't give the dribbler a good look, the size difference here, 6'4.5", 6'10" against a 6'1" B.J. Armstrong, too much for him. Smith out on the break after the feed from Rivers.
Like B.J. Armstrong in the starting lineup for Chicago earlier this season. Some of the Bulls veterans complained that John Paxson should be the man starting rather than B.J. They felt they were more comfortable with Paxson. Some were quoted as saying that B.J. at times can be somewhat of a ball hog. He was very hurt by that. Phil Jackson's point of view is that Paxson has not fully recovered, as we mentioned earlier, from off-season knee surgery. Recently, though, B.J. Armstrong has stepped up his play, and now there's a school of thought that he would provide more of a lift coming off the bench once Paxson is ready to go in the starting role.
Because the second unit has struggled for Chicago. They need somebody to come in and give them a lift. Armstrong can score points. He makes open shots. Put Paxson back in his starting role. Put B.J. back with the second unit. Not taking anything away from his play. It's that they need something coming off the bench to help him.
Rivers coming over to help on the double team. Picks up his first foul. Doc Rivers, one-time Atlanta Hawk under Cesar for, 8 years, and then on to the L.A. Clippers before moving on to the New York Knicks.
Had great seasons for us in Atlanta. One of our captains down there, and was doing a great job for Pat Riley. Talking to Pat, he's very, very happy with the way Doc has played. And he's got 2 point guards that he can interchange. They give him different looks completely.
Rivers has played well, particularly defensively. Mason was stopped. Mason on the rebound, and Armstrong gets to it. Rodney McCray on the floor for Chicago for the first time. Pippen, and the rebound scooped by Rivers. Just under 3 minutes remaining. First quarter. Knicks with the ball. They lead by 4. Oh, look out! Cartwright with the headlock move on Rivers. Jess Kersey blowing the whistle, and the foul is on Cartwright.
Well, one of the things Doc Rivers can do is rebound as a guard, and that big body of Bill Cartwright, as he got his hands on it, it was clean, but it was the body that initiated the contact.
Timeout taken by the Knicks. We'll be back in a moment. To this point, 3 of 6 for 7 points. NBA's most valuable player the last 2 years. Last year averaged 34 a game. This season at 32.2, leading the NBA. Dominique Wilkins at 27 and change. Same for Chris Mullin. Dominique, though, will be out 2 to 4 weeks with that fractured finger. Michael Jordan gunning for 7 in a row, which would be a remarkable feat, matching Wilt Chamberlain, who did it from 1960 through 66. Michael Jordan last year winning his 6th straight scoring crown. Doc Rivers to the free throw line with the Bulls over the foul limit. He has now hit 12 of his last 13, although he has not spent much time at the free throw line.
Well, when he comes in the beginning of the game, he's trying to get other players involved in the game rather than going to the basket himself. The Knicks have had problems scoring points. And then at the end of the game, so much of the time it is Greg Anthony who's out there, not Doc Rivers.
Knicks on a 10-0 run. Will Perdue has replaced Bill Cartwright. Jordan comes up short. Mason with the rebound. John Starks on the floor for the first time. Entry pass for Ewing over Perdue. Rebound Perdue. 2:25 remaining in this opening quarter. Jordan with the head fake, beating Starks, lost the handle. Starks open. Yes. Doc Rivers spotting the open man, and the Knicks now lead by 8. They've scored the last 12 points.
Pat Riley has such tremendous flexibility with this basketball team. Now going with Blackman as a small forward. It enables Starks to come in, get warmed up, and then he can substitute in the backcourt.
Michael Jordan with 9 points. The Knicks lead 22-16. The Knicks come in at 16-7. They lead the Atlantic Division 3 games over Orlando, 4 over the Nets. They've won 5 in a row, 7 of their last 8. Ewing backing Perdue, goes to the hook shot and gets the friendly roll.
More than friendly. The shot actually hit below the rim on the flange and then managed to bounce up, hit the backboard, and roll in.
Knicks 24, Bulls 16. Jordan off the head fake. Rebounded by Perdue, and a loose ball foul has been called. Foul committed by Ewing.
Not many times you can shoot a ball into the side of the rim and get this kind of a bounce. A little bit short, yeah, but a little bit of help from the backboard and the roll.
Charles Smith returns. Rolando Blackman sits down. 2 of 3 4 points for Blackman. The Knicks over the foul limit. So Will Perdue to the line, and Will has certainly had his ups and downs at the free throw line.
The play that Chicago has used for the last 2 years on the free throw line. Pippen and Jordan love to fly in from the outside. You must block them out as the free throw is being taken.
Minute 15 remaining in the first quarter. The Knicks 24 and the Bulls 17. Rivers and Starks now in the backcourt. Mason, Ewing, Smith up front. Ewing, yes. No question about the intent of the Knicks with Will Perdue in the lineup. They continue to go to Patrick Ewing. They certainly feel they have a big advantage in that department. Perdue, though, comes up with the rebound. Knicks lead 26-19 as Ewing establishing position. Armstrong over to help. Rivers, the open man, hits the 3.
Doc Rivers is one of those players who, when he came in the league as a rookie, people said you have to make him make shots. He cannot shoot the ball from the outside. He's also one of those guys who has gone to work in an area of weakness and made it a strength. He can knock down 3-pointers now.
Pippen able to keep it alive. Contested by Rivers, who knocked it away. Doc Rivers with the steal. And the Knicks will hold for a final shot. That's time running down in this first quarter. A 19-5 run by the Knicks. Here is Smith. Rebound Ewing. And time runs out. But a good finish here in the first quarter by the New York Knicks. So after one, Patrick Ewing, 3 of 6, 8 points. Michael Jordan, 4 of 11 for 9. It's the Knicks 29. The Bulls 19.
Out here at Chicago Stadium, and seeing that it is Christmas, I thought you would want to know what some of these players got for Christmas. Now, most of the players who have children said they got the normal dad things: socks, pajamas, and weird ties. I talked to Greg Anthony. He said he got a trip to Chicago for Christmas. Will Perdue got an aquarium. Now, what do you think that Michael Jordan would get for Christmas, seeing that he has everything else? Well, his wife presented him with a beautiful baby girl, Jasmine McHale Jordan.
All right, Ahmad. Michael Jordan in the first quarter, 4 of 11, 9 points. The Bulls shot only 8 of 25 for 32%, while the Knicks shot well, in particular the latter stage of the quarter. Jordan getting inside. The Knicks now lead by the score of 29-21. Delay of game warning on Chicago. Greg Anthony has come on for the first time. He and John Starks in the backcourt. Patrick Ewing, Anthony Mason, and Charles Smith are up front. Greg Anthony missed the game Saturday. The Knicks' last game against Miami with a sprained ankle. Here's Starks. Yes, oh, he has the touch. He's hit 2 from deep, and the Knicks now lead by 10.
So you see the contrasting styles. Michael Jordan takes Starks down low, posts him up, then Starks takes Jordan outside for the jumper.
Pippen. Scottie Pippen with his second field goal. He has 4. The Knicks 31 and the Bulls 23. Second of 4 meetings between these two clubs this season. Back in November at Madison Square Garden, Knicks beat the Bulls as Ewing is able to drill it home. 112-75, a 37-point differential. Pippen in a crowd, and he is fouled by Ewing. For Ewing, that is a second. Charles Smith raising his hand, looking to draw the foul. That would have been number 3 on Smith, but it is Ewing. Called for the personal.
And it's an area where New York once again tried to protect itself, knowing that there were times when Ewing would be in foul trouble. They went out and signed Herb Williams, a free agent, to back up Patrick Ewing, and Williams has played very well for New York.
And here comes Herb Williams. John Paxson checking in. There's Herb Williams, 12-year NBA veteran, signed as a free agent, and he has been an important player, giving the Knicks quality minutes at backup center, a commodity the Knicks have lacked over the years. Herb Williams spent 7.5 years with Indiana and then on to Dallas for 3.5 seasons. McCray got a piece of it. Well, we hope our viewers enjoyed our Olympic Christmas special, which preceded this game on most of these stations. And let's see what the call is here. A foul on B.J. Armstrong. Our special bringing back some terrific memories of the games in Barcelona this past summer. A program that those in the Rockies and on the West Coast will see after our NBA game tonight, so we hope you stay with us. I thought the Czar and the Dream Team was just a perfect match in Barcelona. Fit right in with that crowd.
It's going to be a long year, I can tell already.
Minute and a half gone by in the second quarter. The Knicks with a 9-point lead. Mason from Smith, bottled up. Perdue got a piece of it. Starks on the reverse, yes, and it counts.
And when John Starks came up with the basketball, there were just 5 seconds remaining on the 24-second clock. He knew he had to somehow get the ball on the rim, make contact. It's the extra effort. There's the dive cut by Mason, the nice pass by Smith, but the extra effort here by Starks, not only to get the ball, but then get up and convert that shot. Terrific.
Rodney McCray on the personal. Will Perdue hears it from the crowd as he departs. Scott Williams has checked in. And Corey Williams, a rookie out of Oklahoma State, has come on for Chicago for the first time. Corey Williams handling the ball against Greg Anthony, so Michael Jordan getting a rest. Biggest lead of the night. Knicks lead by 12. They double up on Pippen. Scott Williams, who in the past has played well off the bench against the Knicks. And Bruce Alexander indicating a hacking foul on John Starks.
Well, a few moments ago, Bruce Alexander called the hand check foul against Chicago. So this time, as soon as there was a little bit of hand checking by New York, the whistle goes off to even it up.
This is the second part of our NBA doubleheader here, a Christmas special. That counts. And the foul. Pippen will go to the line, seeking a three-point play. Foul on Smith.
With Jordan sitting down, the program gets run through Scottie Pippen, and you can see the determination. Obviously, this team has talked prior to the game about the physicalness. When you take it to the basket, they're going to close the path down. You must keep your concentration.
Three-point play for Pippen. The official score indicating a correction on that Smith foul. That was his second, not his third. Last touch by McCray. Good hustle by Rodney McCray.
McCray trying to play the role of the interceptor, gets over there just a little bit late for the steal.
Crowd trying to get the Bulls revved up. Anthony. Smith off the steal, rejected. Smith again. Charles Smith hanging in tough. His fifth field goal. He has 10. The Knicks lead 38-27. Knicks killing the Bulls off the boards. And Smith with another. Nick rebound.
Well, when you're able to substitute and bring in a Herb Williams and a Mason, two big bodies, both of whom can rebound, one who really blocks shots well, and Herb Williams, you don't give up a whole lot.
Herb Williams with a beautiful spin. He had Scott Williams going the other way. Yes, the Knicks very deep off the bench. That has been a major strength over the first 23 games. The Bulls call for time. Point, they have not been overly impressive. They have had their share of problems. We talked with Phil Jackson about that and asked what is wrong with the Chicago Bulls.
We're not as deep. We're not as consistent. We don't have the same intensity night in and night out. For an effort, a given effort. We can play 5 minutes hard or 8 minutes hard, but we can't play through a quarter or finish a quarter well right now. We're not completing the effort. So we're still limited to the amount of real hard effort we can give due to a number of problems. I think some of them are physical, some of them are emotional and mental.
You know, when you look at the roster changes they made as Michael Jordan knocks down a jumper, they lost Livingston, Bobby Hansen, and Hodges. That group gave him energy, gave him toughness, gave him a little bit something special. Replaced him with McCray, the rookie Williams, and Trent Tucker. They've lost something there.
Cliff Livingston is currently playing in Greece. Here's Starks from three-point range. And it carries out of bounds. Wait a moment. No, foul is called. Loose ball foul on Anthony Mason. Jess Kersey a moment ago went over to the Chicago bench and to the Knicks bench and told both teams to calm down.
Well, as the timeout took place and the players were crossing in front of each other, going to their benches, there was some words exchanged. Jess Kersey trying to stop it before it happens.
Last touch by Grant. Craig Hodges, as you mentioned, is gone. All Bobby Hansen and Cliff Livingston. Livingston playing over in Greece gave this club a lot of energy. Starks not able to hit. Jordan had it knocked away. It'll be Chicago ball, but I don't think you could only point at that particular area. Phil Jackson has also made the point that the extra play in the Olympics on the part of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen extending the season may have had something to do with the slow start.
Pippen came in and only went 1 days to start practice. Jordan missed the first 5 days of practice before he began practicing 1 day before the first exhibition game.
And a foul called on the Knicks. Knicks looking for a jump ball. It's on Smith. That is his third.
You want to take the ball to the basket strong. Try to dunk the basketball. That way, when players go up to block, as Charles Smith did right there, you're hoping to ensure the contact will take place.
In the first part of our NBA doubleheader this afternoon at the Sports Arena in Los Angeles, San Antonio beat the LA Clippers 103-94. There's Blackman coming on for Smith. So the Knicks with a backcourt now of Starks, Blackman, and Anthony. They go to a 3-guard alignment along with Mason and Williams. Sean Elliott led San Antonio with 32 as new coach John Lucas went 2-0 for the season. Anthony Mason handles the ball so well for a big man. Knicks able to beat the Chicago trap. Blackman, yes!
Say, why would you have Anthony Mason bringing the ball up the court? Because he used to be a point guard as he was working his way up through the high school systems and college, and he handles the ball extremely well. It takes the pressure off the New York backcourt.
Now the Knicks showing some pressures. They double up. Paxson open. Jordan for 3. Anthony hustles it down. Williams on the recovery. And the Bulls can regroup. Knicks lead by 12. 5 minutes into the second quarter. Marv Albert with Mike Fratello, Ahmad Rashad. Here's Paxson. He's been off. And the Knicks on the run. Anthony has Starks on the far side, but the Bulls got back. Williams sets the pick. Nice ball movement, and Blackman finishes it off. 14-point lead, the biggest of the game. Rolando Blackman, 4 out of 5. He has 8 points.
You see all the small things in the execution of New York. The ball fakes, one dribble, improve the position, and the spacing on the court offensively.
Here's McCray. It will count, and a foul. Phil Jackson telling us yesterday that Rodney McCray just has not asserted himself offensively.
And there are reasons. When you look at Rodney McCray, you said this is a much larger, bigger Rodney McCray. He's trying to get himself into the proper shape.
Here's Jordan for 3. Yes! He can't believe it. Now running down, the Chicago Bulls have won the NBA championship for the 2nd straight season.
June 1992. More memorable moments from NBC Sports.
That memorable moment with Michael Jordan, just the start of a series of flashbacks that will bring your way as we take a look back at a great year. On the subject of memorable moments, there should be many at the NBA All-Star Game coming up in Salt Lake City. The Miller Genuine Draft NBA All-Star balloting is underway. This program giving fans a chance to pick their starters for the 43rd Annual All-Star Game in Salt Lake City. Here's a sample ballot. Sorry, you can only vote for 2 forwards, 2 guards, 1 center. That's the way this works. You kind of, with a pen, you could kind of knock out the, got it?
Yes, I have.
Good. Ballots available at all NBA arenas at participating Miller Genuine Draft retail outlets. Please be sure to get out and vote. But unlike the Czar, read the rules and regulations back of the ballot. Knicks by 11. Patrick Ewing putting the move on Bill Cartwright. Offensive foul.
And Jess Kersey is trying to maintain control there. After Paxson knocked Anthony to the floor, Anthony got up off the floor and ran intentionally into Paxson with his chest and shoulder area. That's where the foul was called.
And Greg Anthony apparently has something to say in the direction of Jess Kersey. And Anthony is called for a technical foul.
And Pat Riley and Anthony both were saying, wait a minute, to Kersey, he was talking to me, the coach, with that remark. Kersey just smiled, walked away. He's heard enough of the remarks over the years.
And Doc Rivers will replace Greg Anthony.
Doc Rivers returns to the Knicks.
Michael Jordan hit the tee. He now has 14. Those of you who were watching halftime of the San Antonio LA Clipper game, saw one of our insiders, Pete Vesey, report that Greg Anthony was very dissatisfied a couple of weeks back at a Knicks practice. Pat Riley yelling at Greg, and then Greg said he'd like to be traded. Riley said, why don't you think that over a bit? Came back the next day. Anthony said he'd like to be traded. This is ironic because for a good portion of last season, Mason is blocked. The Knicks were trying to trade Anthony. Here's Blackman. The horn went off. Wait a moment. Apparently the ball was knocked out of bounds. But it sounded like the horn went off prematurely. It will be Chicago ball. The Knicks lead by 10 points. Greg Anthony, the subject of much focus in the New York area because of the poor shot selection at times, and Pat Riley has tried to change his game a bit, although he's played very well recently. Ewing handling that air ball, and back comes Starks.
Well, I talked to Greg Anthony prior to the game as Stark tees it up for a 3.
And Mason is fouled.
And speaking with with Anthony prior to the game, I asked him about the incident. He said, yes, Riley did get on him. He said, I deserved it. I wasn't practicing hard. Do I want to leave New York? No. I'm a little frustrated with my minutes, but I do know that I am the point guard of the future for them. I want to be in New York. That incident is over in the past.
I know that Pat Riley has tried to get Greg Anthony thinking like a point guard. At times, he is too shot conscious, and he's wanted Greg Anthony to get back to the things that made him so valuable last year, such as strong defense and setting his teammates up, not looking at the shot. Earlier this year, Riley may have turned the season around with a sweeping message some 9 games into the season. He benched Anthony, Starks, and Mason. Made it clear that he respected their physical talents, but he did not appreciate their loss of control of their emotions, which we may have seen just a moment ago by Anthony. He was particularly upset, though, about the trash talking that would go on. Ewing able to hold on. Crowd looking for a foul, and here comes Mason. Since that benching, all 3 have played very well. .420 remaining in this first half as Patrick Ewing again hits from outside. He has 12 points. The Knicks lead by 13.
It seems so simple. You had about 10 different things take place on the left side of the floor for New York. They just decided to reverse the ball over to Ewing's side, throw it in the hole, and then Ewing sticks it in the basket.
The Knicks are shooting overall 51%. The Bulls 36%. Shot clock down to 3. Jordan rejected by Ewing. Armstrong back for Starks. Ewing played by Scott Williams. Rivers. There's Pippen. That's a charge.
Well, Michael Jordan breaks you down off the dribble, gets to the rim, and most times you think that it's going to be an automatic. He changes to his left at the last second because he sees the presence in the middle for New York, Patrick Ewing, who does a few changing things of his own with his shot blocking ability. And his shot blocking is way down this year from last season.
Pat Ewing says that he is concentrating more on rebounding, and he's been rebounding extremely well as of late. Michael Jordan only 6 for 17 from the field, 1 for his last 5. Offensive foul. It's on Armstrong. That is his 3rd.
Again, in an attempt to clean up the play, not let it get out of control, all these small fouls which normally might be let go, they're enforcing it right now.
Timeout taken. 3:10 remaining in this first half in Chicago. The Knicks lead by 13.
Making his presence felt this season in the NBA. Hi, everybody. I'm Hannah Storm, here to tell you that coming up at halftime in just a few moments, we'll hear again from Mourning, also from Shaquille O'Neal and others, as we feature the NBA rookie class of 1992. That's coming up in just a few minutes at halftime, but now let's get back down to Marvin Mike.
All right, thank you, Hannah. 47-34. The Knicks leading the Bulls. We come up on 3 minutes remaining in this first half. Christmas night in Chicago. Second part of our NBA doubleheader. Earlier today, San Antonio beat the Clippers 103-94. Starks, and it's rebounded by Paxson.
Speaking with Pat Riley earlier today, he said there were 3 areas of concern for him coming off the 5 off days. Rebounding, finishing plays, contesting shots. Well, right now they're out rebounding Chicago 29-12. They're shooting 49% and holding Chicago to around 35% shooting.
Triple team effort by the Knicks, leading to the foul call as Doc Rivers came over and was called for that foul, his 2nd.
Doc Rivers has outstanding hands, has been ranked every year in the league up there high in steals, anticipates well when people put it on the floor, and normally gets away with those strips.
Michael Jordan now 3 of 3 from the line. He has 15 points, has not shot well, 6 for 17, and that's a lot of shots when you consider we still have almost 3 minutes remaining in the first half.
Well, he's coming off an explosive game of 57 points. He's a guy that wants to take over and try and get this team motivated. He said this is a challenge for us to get ourselves mentally and physically up for this kind of a game, a playoff type game.
The steal by Stacey King, who just checked in. King is up front now with Pippen, and Grant Phil Jackson trying all kinds of combinations, and just Kersey calling a foul on Michael Jordan. He was trying to set up down low.
Well, he went down to post up, and as Rivers was coming around on the top side, the left shoulder of Michael Jordan, Michael put up the left arm, caught Rivers. Rivers with a little bit of the Bill Laimbeer School of Acting. Got credit for drawing the offensive foul. 2nd on Jordan. Blackman with some room. Oh! Rebound Grant. And the foul is called. Loose ball against the Bulls. Horace Grant committing his
second, and you can hear the reaction. Fourth team foul on Chicago. Knicks are over the limit. 2:20 remaining in this first half. Blackman. Knicks only one of the last 8 before that field goal by Blackman. Rolando has 10. The Knicks by 14.
Well, their execution was so good that time. The screening so good. Rolando Blackman had a wide open look like shooting a free throw that time.
King around Starks. Pretty move by Stacey. King eluding Patrick Ewing. Knicks 49, the Bulls 37. Offensive foul. It's a charge on Rivers. That is 3 on Rivers.
Well, Doc Rivers tried to split that pick and roll situation, tried to get through the opening before he actually got to the screen. There he sees it. There he uses his left arm to clear Paxson out of the way.
3 apiece on Charles Smith and Doc Rivers. B.J. Armstrong has 3. Here's Jordan. And the rebound handled by Starks. Whipping by Pippen. And then pulling up. Crowd looking for the travel. King getting the hand on it, deflects it out. Good play by Stacey King.
I think Phil Jackson has come with Stacey King and trying to get another scorer out there on the floor. He's a low post threat. They can throw the ball to him down low, perhaps put another foul on Ewing.
1:19 remaining in this first half. Greg Anthony checking back in. Well, tomorrow here on NBC, starting with NFL Live, a close-up study of Washington Redskins head coach Joe Gibbs, a man who is obsessed by preparations. Like on several occasions, something you can relate to. He'd work late into the night, sleep over at the training camp, and be ready for practice following morning. O.J. with a look behind the scenes at Joe Gibbs, Bob Costas, O.J. Simpson, Will McDonough on NFL Live at 3:30 Eastern Time, and then the Washington Redskins and the Los Angeles Raiders. Starks called for the foul. All kinds of scenarios involving the Redskins tomorrow. I know you'll clear this up in a hurry. If Washington wins, they need a Green Bay loss or a Philadelphia Eagles victory to make the playoffs. If the Redskins lose, a Green Bay loss still puts them in as they go down to the final weekend in the National Football League.
That's how I have it on my chart.
16 for Jordan, but only 6 of 18 from the floor. The Knicks 49, the Bulls 39. Pressure by Chicago. They've turned it on and off. Starks able to get down. Ewing not able to hold on. And it will be Chicago ball.
And the two officials checking each other out, making sure that they both have the same call and point in the other direction. That time the numbers for New York on the fast break, 3 against 2. They want to attack the Chicago pressure.
Pippen to the spin. And it's picked up by Mason. Bulls shooting only 35% for the half. Anthony working the clock down. Anthony on the penetration was stopped. Mason recovers. It'll be Nick Ball. Knocked out of bounds by Chicago. 4 seconds remaining in this first half, and the Knicks have 2 on the 24. A timeout has been called.
As we've been watching Chicago operate at the offensive end of the floor, for the past 2 seasons, we associate Chicago with the passing, the cutting, the backdoor plays, the movement without the basketball. But the league catches up to you. New York in particular, who slows you down by holding, grabbing, takeaway cuts, has forced Chicago into a lot of one-on-one. So many of their shot attempts tonight have come as a result of the player trying to make it happen on his own, either Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, or whoever else. As you look at last season's stats compared to what's going on this season, down in their field goal percentage, down in their free throw percentage, and in the differential, how much they score versus they give up, that down also.
Anthony got it away, beating the 24-second horn. We're now down to 0.2 of a second remaining. It was last touched by Chicago.
And 0.2 of a second means you cannot catch it and shoot it. It must be a tip attempt if you're going to count the basket.
Waved off immediately. That won't count. John Starks arguing the call, but Ted Bernhardt made the indication immediately, and now he is explaining it to Starks. He said you have to tip it.
Exactly. The rule changed when Trent Tucker knocked out a shot against this Chicago Bulls team.
Well, coming up next, with the Knicks 10 points over Chicago at halftime. It's the Prudential Halftime Report with Hannah Storm. She'll have highlights of this afternoon's game between San Antonio and the LA Clippers, as well as a look at this season's excellent crop of rookies in the NBA.
The stadium where the visiting New York Knicks lead the Chicago Bulls by a score at the half of 49-39. Hi, everybody, and Merry Christmas. On this Christmas Day, 1992, there was one other NBA game played earlier in the day at the Sports Arena in Los Angeles, seen right here on NBC. The San Antonio Spurs visiting their former head coach Larry Brown and the LA Clippers, but it was the NBA's newest head coach who had the upper hand in this one. John Lucas has the Spurs playing inspired basketball, and San Antonio came out blazing, leading by as much as 25 points in the first half. On the transition, Sean Elliott with a jumper. He scored 15 of his game-high 32 in the first quarter. But then the Clippers fought back in the third. John Williams with the three-pointer to bring his team within 2, but it was all San Antonio. And Mr. Robinson down the stretch. David Robinson scoring 16 of his 21 points in the second half before he fouled out with a little over 2 minutes left. The final 103-94 as the Spurs go to 2-0 under John Lucas, who was hired a week ago today. For several NBA teams this Christmas, Santa came quite early, way back in June at the NBA draft. And coming up next on our Prudential Halftime Report, we'll be checking in with this year's talented crop of rookies right after these words. To Chicago Stadium, where Michael Jordan first began dazzling crowds as an NBA rookie back in 1984. His class was a great one. It included the likes of Hakeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley, and John Stockton. But this year's NBA rookie crop could have just as big an impact on the NBA as that class of '84. And with the retirements of superstars Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, the NBA is no doubt quite thankful this Christmas for the gifts it has received in the form of some very talented rookies.
Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you.
Y'all ready for this?
The NBA rookie class is led by a player known simply as Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal is already an NBA force. Averaging 22 points per game, he's second in the league in rebounds and blocks.
I consider myself a new breed, and I think there's, maybe 3 or 4 in the NBA. Myself, Robinson, Daugherty, Hakeem, and Patrick. And I'm 7 foot, 300 pounds, but I'm able to run the floor.
Now you've got a guy who's in the league who's roughly 20, 21 years old, who has force like the Terminator. And I think we're going to see a lot of Shaq virus around the league. People are going to come up and say, I don't think I want to play against this guy tonight.
This guy, sky is the limit to his potential. Yeah. I mean, he's an excellent player. He's a true big man.
No man has come in with the kind of fanfare this guy has since Kareem. And I think that he's worthy of it. I think he's worthy of it because he's a complete basketball player.
The Charlotte Hornets select Alonzo Mourning from Georgetown University.
Hello, Zoe.
Alonzo Mourning may have missed the entire preseason, but he's made an immediate impact in the middle for Charlotte, ranking 4th in the NBA in blocks.
It's been a struggle at times, I just got to learn to use the right judgment, at the right time. But unfortunately, I have a group of guys around me who are veterans and who have been there to help me along the way.
The Minnesota Timberwolves select Christian Laettner from Duke University.
Oh, Robert Laettner with a wraparound.
The Timberwolves' Christian Laettner got a head start on his NBA career playing with the Dream Team in Barcelona. He learned about earning respect.
The thing they would hate the most would be if you were a prima donna and thought you were going to get the same calls and be as successful as you were in your last level, which was college. And that's not going to happen to anybody. But if you stick with and keep playing hard, you can, do some good things.
Denver's rookie coach Dan Issel is counting on another rookie. Forward LaFonso Ellis, as a starter for the Nuggets, is scoring close to 15 points per game and hauling down 10 rebounds.
I go home each and every night, and I'm like, whew, I just played against Buck Williams tonight. I scored over Buck Williams tonight.
Washington's versatile rookie forward Tom Gugliotta nearly opted to play pro ball in Italy this season, but he's made an immediate impact in the NBA with the Bullets. At 6'10", he can play inside or hit from the outside. Perhaps the most intriguing rookie this year is the Spurs' Lloyd Daniels. Daniels never played college basketball and overcame numerous personal problems to finally reach the NBA at age 25.
Whoever thought Lloyd Daniels would be running up and down that court, dribbling the basketball, playing against guys like Isaiah, all these guys. This is like, Mark Price the other night, all these good players, Dominique Wilkins. Whoever thought Lloyd would be playing, this is a great feeling in life, just being out there with them guys.
Daniels with 12 points in that game earlier today. Ahmad Rashada joins us up here on our perch, and I was talking to Bulls general manager Jerry Krause, and he said look for some other guys like Clarence Weatherspoon, maybe Latrell Sprewell, to develop into great players. So that's an opinion from management, but what do the NBA veterans say about the rookies?
Well, I think, first of all, that Jerry's right, that it is a great class, but some of the veterans, I talked to Michael Jordan today, asking about the rookies that have made the biggest impact in the league. He said Shaquille O'Neal, Alonzo Mourning, and Tom Gugliotta, he said, is the second coming of Larry Bird. That's how impressed he was with Gugliotta.
Well, that's a lot of expectations for Tom Gugliotta, but I think the guy that has to face the most expectations is Shaquille O'Neal. The people in this league think that he will carry it on to the next generation and be a future superstar. Does he feel any pressure because of that?
I did a story with Shaquille that you'll see tomorrow on Inside Stuff, and he really is handling all of this very well. He's a very mature young man at only 20 years old, and he said he's doing the things that he wants to do. He wants to play basketball. He's not paying attention to any of the hype. He's just going out at 20 years old and doing exactly what he wants to do.
You forget he's so young because he's so big, but he couldn't even get into any of the jazz clubs here in Chicago.
That's true. And one other thing, Hannah, is that you notice how some of the rookies that we were talking to were so impressed with the NBA. When you talk to Shaquille, he's not that impressed with everybody else. I asked him about playing against people like David Robinson. He says, you know what, I think about David Robinson about as much as David Robinson thinks about playing against me.
So he has a mental edge as well as a physical one.
Certainly does. Very, like you said earlier, when you watch him, it's hard to believe the young man's only 20 years old.
Okay, thanks for joining us, Ahmad, and Merry Christmas.
Same to you.
All right, we'll see more of you in the second half because that's it for our halftime report. Marvin, Mike, and Ahmad will be back to bring you the second half tip-off. The Knicks and the Bulls from Chicago Stadium right after these words from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the Prudential. In a changing world, one thing remains rock solid: the Prudential.
Christmas night in Chicago at the half. The Knicks by 10 over the Chicago Bulls. Marv Albert with the czar of the telespreader, Mike Fratello. Mike, you look at the halftime stat sheet. Michael Jordan, 6 of 18 from the floor. Are we seeing too much Michael Jordan? That a problem the Chicago offense has had from time to time.
Overall, Chicago has taken 40 shot attempts in the first half, by Jordan taking 18 of those. That's 45% of the Chicago offense. Now, if you go back to the first game, okay, 4 out of 20, and now add this one, he is 10 out of 38, 26% in the last 6 quarters shooting against New York.
Let's take a look at some of the close-up statistics. The Knicks 21 of 46 overall from the field, 46%. The Bulls only 14 of 40 for 35%. Jordan 6 of 18. He was 4 of 20 in the earlier game in New York. Off the boards, it has been all Knicks.
And the Knicks in that big rebound advantage there of 32-14, 10 of those offensive rebounds, second shot opportunity. So they may not be shooting that well the first time around, but getting it back again, getting another attempt.
The Knicks 49, the Chicago Bulls 39. We'll be back with the third quarter in a moment. Back in Chicago on a 20-degree night. Merry Christmas and a happy Hanukkah from all of us at NBC Sports. Patrick Ewing leading the way for the Knicks in the first half with 12 points. Charles Smith, Rolando, Blackman each have 10. Michael Jordan with 17, but 6 of 18 shooting. Scottie Pippen attempting only 6 shots at 3 of 6. Jordan, incidentally, has missed his last 5 field goals. We mentioned at the start with the Bulls coming out very aggressively, and although many people don't realize it, the Chicago Bulls' success predicated the past 2 years on their strong defensive play. You know, the casual fan may see Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen putting up big numbers, but they have been considered as the top defensive team of the NBA, and as Phil Jackson told us yesterday, they really haven't been able to go with much pressure this season because they could not use it much during training camp. And I would think, Mike, in this first half, we saw about as much as the Bulls have used at any time this season.
You're exactly right. I checked with Johnny Bach, the assistant coach of Chicago, at halftime. He said, without question, it's the most that we've pressed. And interesting, it's the third game in 5 days, so you're concerned about the fatigue factor there also for them. In the second half, they want to back off the pressure. They feel that New York is getting too many easy opportunities after they try and attack the press and then get to the rim.
On the other hand, the Knicks have had a long rest. They have not played since last Saturday night, but that can work both ways sometimes. And usually the script or the end of the script is supplied depending on what the result is. As Jordan draws the foul, the Knicks come out with the long layoff and play well, and when people say, well, they had all this rest, they come out and lose, people will say, hey, they weren't sharp because they haven't played, so you just never know.
In talking to Pat Riley about this, in the 5 days that they had off, he gave them the first 2 days off, and he felt they had terrific practices the next 3 days. Very hard practices, extended practices. He got a lot of work done, but he said that's not the same as playing in game conditions.
Knicks 49, Bulls 41, and here's the pressure again by Chicago. Smith in trouble. Ball was knocked away, recovered by Blackman, and he gets it down, avoiding the 10-second violation. But Oakley's pass off the mark.
And that's what they want. Cause a little bit of havoc. In the first half, New York had 11 turnovers to only 7 for Chicago, but New York pounded them on the glass to get the ball back. 10 offensive rebounds. Chicago comes out that time with excellent pressure.
Jordan putting the moves on Blackman. Yes. So here are the Bulls, although they have not played well, within 6 points and pressure on Rivers. Grant with the steal. Rivers knocked it away. Loose ball foul being called. Bruce Alexander checking with Ted Bernhardt, who is closer to the play. He calls it on Horace Grant.
Well, so much for backing off the pressure by Chicago's defense. And sometimes you have to play for that particular moment. Phil Jackson feels the energy here with the crowd, feels the players are into it, so he leaves the press on and comes up with some good things, some positive things for the Chicago defense.
A minute gone by, third quarter. The Knicks have led by as many as 14. They now lead by 6. Blackman goes down. Pippen for Armstrong. Rebounded by Grant. Jordan. Pat Riley wants a 20. The Knicks lead is down to 4.
As Pippen led that last fast break, Jordan was on the left wing calling for the basketball. He knows that he feels it right now. Pippen went to the corner with the pass to B.J. Armstrong. They eventually got it back to Michael Jordan, who has his stroke right now. You try to look for the guy with the hot hand. Cartwright sets the screen. Blackman gets caught going behind it. It gives Michael a clean, clear look at the rim.
Again, pressure by Chicago, and Smith took his eye off that pass. The Knicks have been rattled by the Chicago pressure. 4 possessions, 4 turnovers. Jordan, 23 points. The rest of the Bulls have 22. The Knicks lead by 4. Jordan guarded by Blackman. Jordan. Yes. And Michael back to psyching himself. Had a little conversation with himself at midcourt. It's a 2-point Knick lead. An 8-0 run by the Bulls. All Jordan. Here comes Pippen.
And that was Jordan trying to come from behind Ewing's head to get the swipe.
And Pippen ties the game. 10 unanswered by Chicago. Ewing lost it. But he stepped out, and it will be Chicago possession.
Well, Chicago closed the trap so hard on Doc Rivers that time, he didn't have a chance to look across the floor at the other side. Jordan feels it, elevates, knocks it down, and then he knows it, so he talks to himself a little bit to let himself know that I'm back, I'm ready.
And Pat Riley getting set to insert Anthony and Starks. The foul called on Chicago. Michael Jordan in a conversation with the official, Bruce Alexander. No official word on the call.
Well, the call is that left hand grabs Blackman's elbow as Jordan turns the corner. That's the offensive foul ball.
It's on Pippen. They call it on Pippen, his second. Run by the Bulls. 8 of the 10 points scored by Jordan. Starks trying to get it down low. Ewing this time successfully saves it. Had an adventure in the first half where he tried that and ended up ricocheting off Horace Grant and hit Ewing.
Well, going back to that last call that I thought was on Michael Jordan, Jordan went over to the official. He thought it had been called against himself, and obviously both of us are wrong on that.
Smith can't find anyone. So Anthony and Starks joining Blackman in a 3-guard setup. Here's Anthony. Starks retrieves. Ewing. Rebound, Jordan. Game tied at 49. Jordan. And Blackman able to race it down. Starks played by Jordan. Knicks led by as many as 14, but the Bulls have come out with a surge, and the Knicks cannot hit. Michael Jordan. So Michael has turned it around from the 6 of 18 in the first half, and he's given Chicago the lead. Of defense from the crowd. Charles Smith taken down. Foul committed by Horace Grant. That's number 4 for Grant.
In the post, Grant pulls him back down. Charles Smith goes to the ground. Smith establishing the real good, strong post-up position. Grant knew he got caught too deep, commits the foul.
Anthony Mason is back. Charles Smith sitting down. Leads with 10 points. Rodney McCray for Horace Grant. Horace quiet offensively. Only 1 field goal, 1 of 5 from the floor. Knicks trying to establish Ewing. And they do. Patrick Ewing with a gorgeous move. He has 14. The game is tied at 51.
And Pat Riley feels the energy that Chicago has in its defense. So by making these substitutions, he's put guys with a little more speed and quickness and ball handling ability on the floor.
And the foul called on Starks. Starks was trying to get to position, but could not. That's 3 on Starks. John Starks is noted as a solid defensive player, but he's had trouble with Jordan because of the strength of Jordan.
Well, he knows that when Michael gets down to a certain point on the floor, because of size and strength, he just goes through him all over him.
As he does right there, but could not finish it off. Blackman from deep. Rebound, Cartwright. Knicks and Bulls tied at 51. Chicago opening this third quarter with 10 unanswered. Pippen. Bulls by 2. Scottie Pippen has 12 points. 5 minutes gone by in the third. Bulls have outscored the Knicks 14-2 in the third. Ewing battles for position against Cartwright. Cartwright jumps out. Ewing double team, gets it to Mason. What a pass from Ewing. And Mason has tied the game at 53. McCray gets down. Ewing got a piece of it. Looked like Ewing hurt his hand. Anthony off the hesitation dribble, firing a brick. Last touched by Chicago. And a timeout is called by Phil Jackson with 6:34 remaining. Third quarter. Welcome back to Chicago on Christmas night with the Knicks and the Bulls tied at 53 halfway through this third quarter. Patrick Ewing has taken shots in the jaw in 3 out of the last 4 games. And Mike, he said with affection that he was really looking forward to tonight's meeting with Bill Cartwright, who does have a way of connecting with elbows from time to time, kind of stumbles into you and causes injury.
That's the last guy you want to meet up with after taking a few elbows to the jaw.
Nick Ball, 15 on the 24. Starks wide open. Starks got off well early, but has had his difficulties. He's missed his last 5. McCray now up front with Cartwright and Pippen, Jordan and Armstrong in the backcourt. Here's B.J. Armstrong. B.J. Armstrong has shot well the last 5 games. That his first field goal. The Bulls 55 and the Knicks 53.
Well, in 15 minutes of the first half, B.J. Armstrong only 1 field goal attempt. You got to get him shots.
Starks looking to shoot his way out of it, and he's tied the game at 55. 9 points for John Starks. The Bulls come in at 17-7, leading the Central Division, 3 games over Cleveland. Cavaliers have won 7 in a row. Last year at this time, Chicago was 20-4. Armstrong for 3. Oh, it's a 2. They change it to a 2-pointer. Foot on the line, but B.J. has hit the last 2. The Bulls now lead 57-55.
And because B.J. had hit the prior shot, they let him be the feeder to Michael Jordan on the post-up that time. They played a 2-man game inside out with Jordan and B.J.
And Mason able to bull his way on McCray. 5 points for Mason, along with 11 rebounds. The game is tied at 57 in what has been a terrific third quarter. Jordan on the pull-up. Ewing with the rebound.
Chicago that time getting into the isolation for Jordan against John Starks.
Blackman had the lane closed by Jordan. Knicks stay with a 3-guard alignment. Anthony getting away with a palm, but then he lost it. Armstrong trying to pull up. Ewing ran into him. No call made. And Phil Jackson understandably upset. Here's Starks. Ewing tried to put the brakes on, made the contact, but there was no foul call.
Normally that's one of those plays where, because it's incidental, the official will call it at first, but when you lose control of possession of the basketball, then blow a late whistle.
Knicks by 2. We're coming up on 4 minutes remaining. Third quarter. Jordan. Starks trying to draw the foul, hit the deck. Michael Jordan now 10 for 26. Patrick Ewing. Ewing has not shot well. He's 6 of 15. And Jordan hit on a reach around by Blackman.
A few moments ago, we talked about the foul that Phil Jackson thought he saw in the rest of the crowd. B.J. pulls up the dribble. Here comes Ewing. There's the contact. There goes B.J. almost down, but loses control of the ball. Where is the call? That's B.J.'s concern.
Blackman called for his 4th. Greg Anthony complaining about that call. Greg Anthony from time to time has had some words with Michael Jordan, who has not exactly appreciated it from a second-year player. 3.5 left. In the third, Knicks lead by 2 points. Pippen, yes. That ties the game at 59. Scottie Pippen playing despite the ankle problems. That goes back to last year's playoffs. Feels he has to play through the injury. Pippen called for that foul, his third. Scottie, it should be pointed out, does not miss the presence of one Xavier McDaniel from last year's playoffs.
Well, McDaniel tried to be very, in fact, overly physical with Scottie. Felt that would be the way to take him out of the game. And if you look at the statistics, the numbers, it was rather effective against him.
Mason played by Pippen. Pippen jumping out on Anthony. Starks for 3. Yes. John Starks with the three-pointer, his first of the night. He has 14. The Knicks now lead 62-59. Knicks settling down after the Bulls came out on fire at the start of this third quarter. They scored the first 10 points of the quarter.
Coming into this game, Starks led the Knicks in three-point attempts, 49. The next closest player, Doc Rivers, with 18.
Here's Jordan with the shot clock running down. The tip missed by McCray. He had 2 opportunities. Pippen gets to it. Cartwright. The Knicks 62. The Bulls 61. Mason. Traveling. Violation on Anthony Mason. Timeout called by the Knicks with 2:15 remaining in the third.
Michael Jordan has a lot of fans here in Chicago Stadium, but none bigger than this young lady right here, Carmen Villafane. A few years ago, Michael found out that she didn't have a good seat here at the stadium, so he arranged for her to be able to sit behind the bench. And since that time, she has missed 5 games in 3 years.
All right, Ahmad, Michael Jordan starting out with the big rush in the third quarter. He scored Chicago's first 8 points. They reeled off a 10-0 spurt. They outscored the Knicks 14-2 at the start, and then the Knicks able to get back into it. Ewing jumping out on a switch. Chicago with the ball down by 1. McCray providing a 1-point lead for the Bulls. Here's Starks racing down. Rebounded by McCray. Jordan setting it up, but Williams could not connect. As touched by the Bulls.
Go back to the summer in the Olympics when Michael Jordan played the point guard spot when Magic was injured. Well, right there, looking over the top, fires it inside to McCray. Terrific look by Michael Jordan.
And now Jordan will sit down. John Paxson checks in. Chicago has outscored the Knicks 24-13 in this third quarter. Jordan departing with 27, although he has not shot well. 10 of 27 from the floor. Ewing forced into the air ball, and Pippen holding for the timeout. He saw he was headed out of bounds and was able to call for the 22nd timeout.
Well, he maintains possession of the basketball. A heads-up play that time by Scottie Pippen, utilizing the 20 that he had.
So the 22nd timeout being used here by Phil Jackson. New York Knicks come in at 16-7, and here in the early going, they have several accomplishments that Pat Riley is very pleased about. 5-game win streak. They've won 7 of the last 8. They were able to snap the 23-game regular season losing streak up in Boston last Friday, convincingly defeating the Celtics. And they snapped the 11-game regular season losing streak against the Bulls. That by virtue of the victory at Madison Square Garden in New York back in November. And they love to snap this one. They've lost 12 straight during the regular season here in Chicago. Last time they beat the Bulls at Chicago Stadium, March of 1987. McCray able to save it. Williams guarded by Oakley. They triple team Pippen, who gets the pass away, but McCray blew the layup. And he's hearing it from the crowd. Knicks had trouble with Paxson. Shot clock down to 10. Mason back to the basket against McCray. Shot clock at 3. Anthony has to pop it. Chased by Mason. Knicks get the new 24.
With this group on the floor right now, New York is searching for exactly where do they want to go to get a shot besides Patrick Ewing down in the low post.
Starks. Rebound Oakley looking for the putback. Last touch by Scott Williams. Out of 21 seconds remaining in the third quarter, and the Knicks will throw in. Knicks would like to hold for a final shot. And Riley barking out directions from the sideline. Out of 10 seconds. Ewing. Oh, with the high dribble, called for steps.
That's tough for me to differentiate why that one is a travel, and on previous occasions when he does the same thing coming back to the middle for that shot, it's not a travel. Maybe the ball too high that time, maybe considered a carry rather than a travel.
Final seconds of the quarter, and Pippen took the shoulder from Mason. 3 and 7/10 seconds to go. Third quarter. Anthony Mason called for his second. That'll send Scottie Pippen to the line.
Most times when Ewing puts it on the floor going to the middle, he gets away with that move right there. That time the exception may have been the basketball being carried.
And he particularly gets away with the travel on the drop step from time to time.
Giving us a little coaching terminology, drop step.
Just trying to keep you sharp here at the end of the quarter. Czar, that has seeped into the announce parlance. Drop step. Pippen is 2 out of 4 from the line. Bulls by 2. Starks able to get it off. Chicago outscores New York 25-13 in the third quarter. It was Michael Jordan providing the lift. At the start of the third, 10 of his 27 have come in the third. Bulls lead 64-62 as we head to the finale in Chicago. We'll be back after these words from your local station. Well, the building rocking. Chicago Stadium on Christmas night. Marv Albert, Mike Fratello, Ahmad Rashad, Hannah Storm. As we head to the fourth quarter, the Bulls 64 and the Knicks 62. The Bulls outscored the Knicks 25-13 in the third. Knicks shot only 6 for 21 from the field. And here's Chicago back to the pressure as we start. Before, this is what got them back into it at the start of the third.
And they came out of the timeout. Pat Riley had drawn up his triangle set that he wanted to attack the press with. They didn't get into the setup from the sideline. Pat on him to get into the triangle set against the press.
The Knicks have missed their last 7 field goal attempts on the way to that 6 for 21 in the third. Starks with 2 on the shot clock. Once again, John Starks had to fire one up with the shot clock running down. Pippen. And it's Ewing on the rebound.
And the pressure by Chicago forces New York into not getting into any type of half-court set. Starks looked up with 6 seconds remaining last time on the 24 and knew they had nothing going. He had to launch one.
The Knicks turn it over. Chicago with a backcourt of Paxson and Armstrong. Grant, Pippen, Cartwright up front. Knicks with their 20th turnover. Bulls with only 10. Michael Jordan getting a rest. Phil Jackson will bring him on for the stretch run. Pippen off the fake. Rebound Grant. And he is clobbered.
Chicago starting to assert itself a little bit on the boards, getting second and third shot opportunities. That time Grant doing what he does so well, get after the ball on the glass. Give us another chance.
Ball also clipped Bill Cartwright in the face. Horace Grant with his 4th point. He was fouled by Patrick Ewing. 3 on Ewing. 3 on Smith. Blackman sitting down with 4. Starks and Rivers each have 3. The foul rundown for Chicago, 3 apiece on Cartwright, Armstrong, and Pippen. 4 on this man, Horace Grant.
Grant knocks both down after shooting just 51% from the free throw line up to this point this season.
Pressure again by the Bulls. They lead by 4. Ewing's pass picked off by Pippen. Grant took a shot. He's hurt. He remains in the backcourt. Bulls are going 4 on 5 in this sequence. Horace Grant shaken up. He's down at the other end. Shot clock at 5. Grant taking the goggles off, trying to hang in at the defensive end now.
He's trying to recover from a short elbow that he caught in the chin. I think it was Oakley who wound up delivering the blow.
Starks turn back. Armstrong moving on Anthony. Rejected by Greg Anthony. What a play by Anthony. 2 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. The Bulls lead 66 to 62. But it's been a long time between field goals for the New York Knicks. Not a good shot by Ewing. 0 for the last 10. The Knicks 0 for their last 10 from the field.
Well, it seemed like there was a stretch of 2 or 3 minutes there when New York just kind of floundered around. They didn't know what they wanted to do offensively. They seemed to lose a little bit of the emotion that they had in the first half.
Armstrong. The Bulls with their biggest lead of the night, and Pat Riley wants to talk it over.
On the right side of the screen, you'll see Oakley slashing in to receive the pass. It's a left elbow right there that catches Grant in the jaw, causes him to take a small break from the action.
But apparently he is all right. Heads back onto the floor along with Michael Jordan, who is checking back in. Mr. Stats, our statistician Elliot Cow, pointing out that the Knicks did not score the first 3 minutes of the third or fourth quarter, almost 3 minutes into the fourth. In the second half, the Knicks have managed only 13 points in 14.5 minutes. Is coming off a 6 for 21 from the field in the third, and again pressure by Chicago bothering the Knicks. Anthony able to get it across. Charles Smith and Rolando Blackman have checked back in. Anthony and Blackman in the backcourt. Smith up front with Oakley and Mason. Ewing sitting down. Blackman off the bench to connect. 6 of 11 for Rolando. 12 points. The Knicks had missed their previous 10 field goal attempts.
We're talking about answering the call. The Knicks certainly needed that basket. They bring Blackman off the bench, and he answers. And when you think about the fact that he's not really warm yet, pick up.
Michael Jordan right back, providing the Bulls with a 70-64 advantage. Smith for Blackman. Fires again. Yes.
Well, Blackman comes off the bench, knocks down his first one and second one. Jordan goes down last time and knocks out his first attempt after coming off the bench. So these guys obviously staying pretty warm on the bench.
Bulls with a 4-point lead. Blackman coming off a season high of 23 against Miami last Saturday. Jordan, oh, he feels it. Did it in front of the Knicks bench as he took some grief from someone on the bench and had something to say after he hit the jumper. Chicago 72, New York 66. 4 minutes in, fourth quarter. Blackman looking for the shot, does it off the spin, and he's hit 3 out of 3.
And Blackman smart enough to realize that Michael was going to come around, reach behind for the swipe, took that ball on his reverse move and put it out in front of him to avoid Michael's hand.
Paxson cannot get going. John Paxson 0 for 3. Knicks down by 4. Smith turns around against Cartwright. Oh, look out. Grant taken down by Oakley. That's 3 on Oakley.
Well, talk about the strength of Charles Oakley. That time with one arm puts Grant down on the ground, and maybe not a whole lot of love lost between these two, since Grant was the guy that was brought in to replace Oakley. Because they had both of them there, they felt they could take one and move it on for another player. That would be Bill Cartwright, as Oakley was moved on to New York.
Scott Williams now being matched by Charles Smith. Rodney McCray has checked back in. Shot clock at 5. Jordan. Grant with the rebound. Paxson rejected by Oakley. Blackman was looking for the jumper. Smith off a double team. Called for the offensive foul. For Charles Smith, number 4. Timeout is called. 6:44 remaining. Fourth quarter. The Bulls by 4.
Presents Genuine Moment.
Tonight's moment takes us back to the 1986 Christmas game between the Knicks and Bulls. 6 seconds left. Trent Tucker's shot converted by Patrick Ewing, a buzzer basket to give the Knicks a dramatic 86-85 win. In recognition of this great moment, Miller Genuine Draft will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. Patrick Ewing struggling here in the second half. He has hit only 1 of his last 8 overall. Looking at a 6 for 18, just 2 points, 2 of the 14 that he scored coming in the second half.
A couple things. One, we need to credit Chicago's defense, which has knocked them off the block. It's been swarming. They've run a second and third player at Patrick Ewing. He has not gotten a clear, good look. At the same time, maybe getting to the offensive boards would help a little bit to get him off that, slide. The turnovers have really hurt New York.
Jordan on the pull-up, rebounded by Oakley. The Bulls 72, the Knicks 68. 6:25 remaining. Fourth quarter. Anthony looking to use the pick. Finds Smith. Rejected by Williams. Beautiful block by Scott Williams. He came out and blocked a jump shot.
Well, that time, the clear look was initially there for Charles Smith, but the ball fake enabled Scott Williams to recover and block the shot.
5 on the 24. Smith firing off glass. And last touch by Mason.
Remember the rule change this year. If it hits the glass, it does not reset the 24-second clock. It must hit the rim.
Phil Jackson has a front line now. Horace Grant, Scott Williams. And he's going with Scottie Pippen at the point guard, along with Michael Jordan and B.J. Armstrong. Jordan and Pippen and Armstrong will handle the ball from time to time. Jordan thought he was fouled as he lost it. Anthony double team. He lost it. Armstrong off the steal. Armstrong able to convert. The Bulls 74. The Knicks 68. 5.5 to go in the fourth quarter. Second of 4 meetings this regular season between the Knicks and the Bulls. Knicks winning in New York back in November by 37. Pippen off the steal. Here's Jordan.
And Michael Jordan, after he dumped the ball, took it and tossed it at Greg Anthony. He's the guy that's been mouthing off at Jordan. Michael not real happy about it. The excellent defense by Chicago leads him to the easy transition scores. The double team, the hands by Pippen, and then Michael out on the break, finishes it off and tosses it back at Greg Anthony.
The ball in the direction of Greg Anthony. Michael has not been a great fan of 3 Knicks in particular. Greg Anthony, John Starks, and Anthony Mason. Referring to those 3, said those guys are unbelievable. They're 3 of the cockiest guys in the league, and they've only been in the league for 2 years. They've still got a lot to prove. That in a piece in New York Newsday written by Jan Hubbard. Starks missed the stuff. Here's Pippen. Foul by Rivers.
When a team presses you, you want to attack and go for the score. You get the numbers, you take it strong. You can't do much better than this. Starks taking it right up into Bill Cartwright's face. The problem is you have to put the ball in the basket.
So Scottie Pippen to the free throw line. He's 4 of 6 from the line. Michael Jordan telling us before the game, he's just not enthralled about the overconfidence, or as he put it, the cockiness of Greg Anthony and John Starks and Anthony Mason, but that has been the style of the Knicks, although Pat Riley tried to calm those three down. That's what led to the benching earlier this season.
You don't want to take away a player's confidence. You want him to play with supreme confidence, but at the same time, you don't want him causing problems and mouthing off. And I think Jordan's point was, what have they accomplished so far in this league that they've got the right to be mouthing off at people?
All three, though, have settled down and have played well. Grant called for that foul as 5th, and Mason to the line. Anthony Mason with 15 rebounds, but has not shot well. What a quiet night for Horace Grant, only 5 points. Knicks free throw shooting in the 4th quarter has hurt them. It has not been the same down the stretch, in contrast to earlier in the game. The Bulls lead 77-69.
And the New York Knicks was stuck on 68 since the 7:24 mark. Finally get a point up on the board.
Knicks have scored only 20 points in the second half. Traveling violation. Michael Jordan called for the travel. The Knicks are back to the 3-guard combination of Rivers, Blackman, and Starks, along with Mason and Ewing. That's a leg block on Armstrong. So they reset the 24. Well, tomorrow NBC Sports presents another special Saturday edition of NFL action. The LA Raiders and the Washington Redskins. Redskins go into the last weekend of the season, still trying to clinch a spot in the playoffs. Nice pass from Ewing. Mason is fouled by Pippen. Bob Costas, NFL Live, getting it underway, 3:30 Eastern Time tomorrow.
Good inside position that time by Mason. Pippen tries to come over the top from behind, but called for the foul. New York trying to surround Ewing in the floor with 3-point shooters now in an effort to make up points quickly.
Well, I mentioned the difficulties of the Knicks at the foul line in the 4th quarter. A marked difference, combining for 68% in the 4th quarter as opposed to their normal free throw shooting, which isn't wonderful. This is a Knicks team that has had problems at the line the last few years. Bulls lead 77-71, just under 4 minutes remaining in the game. Shot clock to 3. Now to 1. Armstrong. Ewing trying to control it, and it was deflected out into the Chicago ball. Ewing deflecting it out of bounds. And a timeout is being called by Chicago. 3:44 to go, 4th quarter. We'll be back to Chicago Stadium after these messages.
Touched it last, but yes, Michael touches it there, but Ewing touches it there and last. Excellent call by the officials. And Pat Riley not real happy with it and saying, wait a minute, that should be our basketball.
Pat Riley, who said the other day he still feels the Bulls don't respect the Knicks, says he feels the Bulls don't think the Knicks are for real, but he says that's okay, that's what happens with world championship teams, and he can understand the Chicago point of view. Jordan being played by Starks. Bulls by 6. Jordan finding Cartwright. He was fouled, upset that he missed the layup.
I want to go back for a second and take a look as Jordan elevates, and at the last second drops it down to Cartwright, who's heading to the basket. Now here's where you want the big fella to dunk it. Don't try and lay it up. Take it strong and dunk the basketball. going back to your statement about Pat Riley and the respect factor, Pat mentioned this morning, his feeling is that championship teams are going to face all different styles of play. And they must find a way to win championships without trying to point out that one style versus another style isn't right. You just go out, you play, you make it happen. I think that's more what the concern was there.
Well, you can understand Pat Riley's point of view here because he has a very aggressive team. Interesting, when he was coach of the LA Lakers and he won 4 championships, more of a finesse ball club, and it was Pat who was complaining about the style of the Detroit Pistons.
Gaining that edge, that's what it's all about, doing a good coaching job.
We talked about that earlier, and see the smile on the face of Pat Riley. As he pointed out, it's part of the coachees. I think that was the term he used.
That's exactly the term he used.
Pippen called for number 5, 13th foul on the Bulls. Chicago 78, the Knicks 71. Winding down toward 3 minutes remaining in the game. Rivers finding Mason, and he's blocked by Grant. Last touched by Mason. Mason in the face of Pippen. They had some words. Armstrong and Jordan in the backcourt. Pippen, Grant, Cartwright up front. The Knicks in one stretch went over 6 minutes without a field goal. They missed 10 shots in a row. Pippen. Oh, Ewing with a terrific move to get to that rebound. Jordan hanging back. Ewing being very careful with the ball.
Michael, the one-man press in the backcourt by himself.
Knicks trailing by 7. The steal by Jordan, and he was pushed by Ewing, who lands up in the lap of Santa Claus. How nice.
Well, Jordan anticipates, backs off, and gets a hand in the passing lane there with a little help from Patrick Ewing. Michael gets the chance to meet Santa himself today.
Ewing called for the foul. Extracurricular activity for Santa. You think he's tired at this point? You know, it's been a busy night last night, and here he is helping out Michael.
I think he's had a very long 24 hours prior to this. He's entitled to have the night off, and what's he want to do? Wants to come and watch an NBA basketball game.
Michael Jordan, 7 for 9. Obviously rattled by going face-to-face with Santa. He has 33 points, but has not shot well. 13 of 32 from the field. The most shots he's attempted in a game this season. The other night when he scored 57 against Washington, but he was 22 for 37 for the 57 points. Blackman going to option number 4, and Mason and Grant pushing and shoving.
And commend both players there for regaining control of themselves. They were battling under the glass, trying to establish position. They got tangled up. They reacted. They started to go after one another, but then smart enough to realize that that's not getting them anywhere but a little bit of lost money out of the bank account.
Scottie Pippen called for that foul. That is his 6th. He leads with 16 points, 9 rebounds, 5 steals. And here's it from the crowd. Second time this season that Pippen has fouled out. Here comes John Paxson. A reminder, viewers in the Pacific and Mountain Time zones, stay tuned for something for the entire family. An Olympic Christmas. A look back at those athletes who made the Barcelona Summer Olympics so memorable. That's immediately following the Bulls and the Knicks in the Rockies and out on the West Coast. Rolando Blackman missing on his first free throw attempt, and he is usually an excellent foul shooter. 4-piece on Blackman, Smith, Mason, and Ewing. Pippen fouled out just a moment ago. Grant has 5. 2:12 remaining in this fourth quarter. The Bulls 79, the Knicks 71.
The Knicks with their version of the Chicago press. Man on the ball, come and trap the first pass inbounds, try to force some things to happen.
Blackman got a piece of it. The Knicks have scored only 22 points in the second half. But this is a typical Knick game because of their defensive play and the lack of good shooting, which we've seen most of the season.
Well, you go through a period of 6 or 7 minutes where you are not making good decisions, not getting wide open shots, and then Patrick Ewing not able to get going. It's going to be a struggle.
Starks hits the three, his second of the game. And more pressure from the Knicks, who now trail by only 4 with 1:35 remaining. Paxson met by Rivers at center court. Jordan checking the clock, 10 on the 24. Jordan bottled up and fouled.
That time, Doc Rivers coming over from the help position away from the basketball, trying to strip Jordan of the basketball as he put it on the floor and was heading down the lane.
Foul on Rivers. Jordan 8 of 10 from the line. He is an 86% free throw shooter. Bulls 80, and the Knicks 75. That 5-game win streak for the Knicks on the line. They have won 7 of their last 8. Bulls have won 5 of the last 6. They have a 5-point lead.
One of the things that Phil Jackson mentioned was, I'm going to have to get my rest. Ball still heads the same way. For New York, I'm going to have to get my minutes rest for Michael Jordan. New York wears him out at the end of games. At this point, Michael with 32 minutes in the game.
Knicks take a timeout. They're down to 1 remaining. Chicago with 3 left. Minute 15 remaining. Fourth quarter, Chicago with a 5-point lead. Knicks down to 1 timeout remaining. Bulls have 3, and hovering around that Knick huddle is Ahmad Rashad. Let's go to Ahmad.
All right, Marv, during the timeout, Pat Riley, no panic, very calm and deliberate to his instruction to his team, and they realize that they've just got to get back in this ballgame. But Riley very much under control here.
And the crowd applauding for the home team Chicago Bulls as they step back onto the court. Anthony Mason will throw in. Patrick Ewing very quiet. He has disappeared in the second half. Only 1 of 8 from the field, 2 of his 14 in the second half.
And if you can score, the guy you want to foul for Chicago is Grant, who's shooting just over 51%. Cartwright 71%.
Ewing came up short. So Ewing 1 for 9 from the field in the second half. Bulls would like to use some time off that clock now. That's time remaining. 50 seconds to go. Fourth quarter. Jordan. Yes. Bulls 82. The Knicks 75. Jordan has 37. Mason. Rebounded by Jordan. 30 seconds remaining in the game. The steal by Rivers, and he's fouled.
Michael Jordan was standing out close to the half-court line, begging for a timeout when he saw his teammate in trouble. Actually had his hands in the position for at least 3 seconds. No one recognized the timeout that Jordan was trying to call. That's why, as a coach, you tell your players, don't stand there if you want it. Run to an official and put the hands in his face so you make him see the timeout signal. Don't take a chance that he's not looking.
Foul called on Cartwright. Chicago over the limit. Rivers to the line. The Knicks' season low was a 76-point game against Detroit back on November the 29th. The Knicks with 76 points right here. Doc Rivers, an excellent free throw shooter. 5-point Chicago lead, and Jordan fouled by Rivers. That is his 5th. 19 3/10 seconds remaining.
Well, that's the problem. If you let either one of those first two outlets catch the ball for Chicago, the one outlet is B.J. Armstrong, shooting 86% from the foul line. The other outlet is Michael Jordan, shooting 86% from the foul line. Both excellent free throw shooters. With a 5-point deficit, New York could have fouled Grant when he came up with that rebound, sent him to the free throw line, and taking your chances on a 51% foul shooter. Instead, Michael Jordan knocked down the jumper to make it a 7-point advantage.
Jordan, unusually having some problems at the line. He's missed 4. He's 9 for 13. And a timeout is called. Jordan now has 38 points, but has not shot well. 14 for 33 overall. The Bulls now lead 83-77. A reminder tonight, right here on NBC, following your late local news, NBC presenting a star-studded late-night lineup. First, the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, followed by Late Night with David Letterman, and then a special edition of Friday Night Videos, all tonight right here on NBC. Viewers on the West Coast will see an Olympic Christmas, Barcelona memories after this game. Down to 19 and 3/10 seconds to go.
Well, New York has just used up its last timeout. No 20s, no more full timeouts. The Bulls still with 3 remaining. So right now, Pat Riley and his huddle covering all the areas. What they're going to do offensively to try and get a quick, good shot. Obviously, if they get the opportunity to shoot a 3, they're going to take it. But you know that Phil Jackson is guarding against the 3-point shot. Then who they want to foul, what defense are they going to go into if they do wind up scoring? In situations like this, you know that the defense is being told, don't foul, don't foul. So let your offensive players take it hard off the dribble, go to the basket, perhaps you'll draw contact on the way, get a 3-point play that way.
This the second part of our special Christmas Day NBA doubleheader this afternoon. The San Antonio Spurs defeated the Los Angeles Clippers 103-94, led by Sean Elliott, who scored 32, David Robinson at 21. New coach John Lucas is now 2-0. And here in Chicago, the Bulls seeking to avenge that 37-point defeat at the hands of the Knicks at Madison Square Garden back in November.
Chicago has a delay of game call already against them, so if they tried to use one now and jump over the sideline, it would be a technical foul. In situations like this, teams will take a delay of game to get a look at the sideline play.
Mason could not find anyone. He did not have any timeouts remaining. Here's Rivers. That's a 2-point attempt. And Jordan clutches the rebound and then is fouled by Starks.
And if Starks would have come up with that offensive rebound, they may have disallowed it, because as he went after it, he used his left hand to hang on the rim and tried to cup the ball with his right hand and dunk the follow-up shot. The referees would have probably taken the basket away. Flying in, left hand on the rim, right hand tries to dunk it.
Michael Jordan back to the free throw line. He's 10 for 14 from the line. Came up strong in the second half, although as we discussed earlier, under the best possible conditions. Bill Cartwright sitting down. Phil Jackson does not want Michael Jordan to take as many shots as he did tonight.
Well, he's taken 33 out of the 79 shots that the Bulls have.
Scott Williams with the intercept, and he's fouled by Patrick Ewing.
Foul 33, Patrick Ewing, his 5th.
Number 5 on Ewing. Ewing started strong, but has not been able to get anything going in the second half. 1 for 9 in the second half, only 14 points, along with 15 rebounds. Phil Jackson, who the other night with that victory over Washington made it 200 career wins, reaching that 200 victory plateau faster than any coach in the history of the NBA, doing it in 270 games, which beats the mark of Rick Adelman of Portland, who did it at 288.
After the last encounter between these two teams, when New York beat them so soundly, the question still remained as Michael Jordan goes down and finishes it off. How good are these Knicks? Because they still were struggling on the road, 4-6 away from home. Again, they come in here and cannot beat Chicago in the stadium.
Yes, a message delivered by the defending NBA champion Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan, the high man, with 42 on 15 of 34. 17 for Blackman, 17 for Starks. They lead the Knicks. The Knicks win streak is stopped at 5. They drop to 16-8. The Bulls go to 18-7. They've won their last 3, and they have won 6 of their last 7. So the final score, the Chicago Bulls 89 and the New York Knicks 77. Coming up on most of these NBC stations following your local news, it's The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, followed by Late Night with David Letterman, and Friday Night Videos for viewers in the Rockies and on the West Coast. Stay tuned now for an Olympic Christmas Barcelona memory. The Chicago Bulls even up the season series with the Knicks at 1-1. The Chicago Bulls to this point have not been overly impressive. They did not have a good first half, but turned it on in the second half to knock off the Knicks. For Mike Fratello, Ahmad Rashad, and Hannah Storm, I'm Marv Albert. This has been a presentation of the NBA on NBC.